What is one thing that went horribly wrong on a vacation?
This technically wasn't a vacation. This was our honeymoon. We booked a 7-day cruise and my husband had surprised me by booking snorkeling. And then he let me know right when we got on the trip. So we get to Puerto Vallarta and then I just had a really weird feeling and I was like, I don't want to go snorkeling anymore. I was in a bad mood. And he's like, I already paid for it and booked for it. Come on, let's try it. We're never going to do this again. What's the odds of doing it again? So we went to go buy a GoPro really quickly. That went bad because we forgot to buy a memory card. Everything was amazing. The boat ride was great. We got to see whales and all that cool stuff. Great people. We land to where we are supposed to go snorkeling. I'm not the greatest swimmer, but it was like a short distance. And it was amazing. We got to see all those little fish. And we just kept our head underwater the whole time because like it was so cool that we didn't notice that everyone left. They left us. I was the first one to notice and then I tapped my husband's shoulder and I'm like, look, there's no one here. Part 2 coming up. So this is part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, go back and watch part 1. So where I left off that I figured out that we were stranded in the middle of the ocean. Someone asked why I didn't realize that the boat was gone or didn't hear the boat leave. The reason being that I didn't hear the boat leave is that we have to swim a distance to the snorkeling area. They don't just leave you there because it's very shallow water where you go snorkeling. And there's other boats around us. Everyone has their own boat and their own, crew of people. But no one was there when I lifted my head. There was no other people, just me and my husband. Like, damn, we're like idiots. We're just swimming and enjoying it, I bet. I immediately start to panic. All I can think about is this. If you have fear of the ocean, you know what I'm talking about. Especially after seeing all those whales. And I can't swim. Okay, guys, this is probably a little closer than what the boat was. Keep in mind, these people on the boat are partying it up. There's strings and everything. Music. No one can freaking hear us. I immediately start to panic. I start thinking about my son because he was a baby at the time. I'm never gonna see him again. I start cramping up. I can't swim. I had a life vest on, thankfully. Don't worry, guys. Part 3 is immediately up. So hopefully this is the part that I'm done with the story. Part 3. I'm immediately trying to swim as fast as I can. I'm losing energy because we've been out there for a while. I don't know how to swim. Luckily, I had this life vest or else I'll be freaking dead. I swear, I'll be dead. Because we were probably out there for like a good half hour or longer. I don't know. But the water kept pushing us back because of the waves. Every boat was partying it up. No one can freaking hear us. I'm screaming and screaming. My husband's telling me to calm down because you're going to lose energy. I was cramping up so bad. I was blaming him already because I didn't want to do it. But I know it wasn't his fault and he was trying to calm me down. I'm thinking about my boy at home because I left my son at home with my mom. I was like, I'm never going to see him again. I was being so dramatic, but I thought I was going to die. At that point, I was just praying. And I felt like God answered prayer because I don't know where came this little tiny little boat. Didn't see him before. And he comes close to us and we're like, help us, like, ayúdanos. El barco nos dejó. He was in shock. He's like, ¿qué? I couldn't get on the boat. My legs were freaking dead. All I can do was say thank you the whole time he brought us back to the boat. And we showed up to the boat and this freaking loop had no idea we were gone. And they still asked if we wanted to go kayaking. We didn't get off this boat. I was like, I'm not getting off this boat anymore. Don't even,
What is one thing that went horribly wrong on a vacation for you?
When you leave the United States for an international flight, you are run through NCIC, which is a national database of like warrants and crimes. It's law enforcement. Like when you go through security and you hand them your passport, that's part of what they're doing. They don't do it on domestic flights, just when you're traveling internationally. I went to board a flight in San Francisco for an international jaunt over to Europe. And as I was boarding the plane, literally 6 federal agents kind of appeared out of nowhere and wrestled me to the ground, wouldn't tell me what was happening. I was so confused. I get to a back room and they tell me that they found an unpaid parking ticket from the East Coast when they ran me through NCIC. They put my 10-year-old on the plane and flew him to Europe and kept me off of it. It took me 2 weeks to catch up with them. But yeah, pay your parking tickets.
What is one thing that went horribly wrong on a vacation for you that you still think about today?
Oh my God, I have to stitch this. So when I was 12, my mom, my mom's friend, and her sons and myself all went on a cruise. We get off on an island somewhere and we go do our day of like activities, whatever. And as I'm walking back onto the cruise, my mom is like, oh my God, Tyler, I think you got your period. My first period. Of course I don't notice because I'm in a wet bathing suit. I don't fucking feel it. I was probably walking around with fucking blood on my ass. I keep my towel wrapped around me and we go back to the room. And of course, my mom and her friend only have fucking tampons. I'm bawling my eyes out in the bathroom. My mom is literally spread open saying, this is how you do it. Like, this is how you do it. And I'm like, I don't know how to do it, Mom. I'm literally staring up into my mom's cooter being like, ah. My mom's like, well, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, this is all I have. And I'm like, I can't know what I couldn't fucking do it, so I had to use the cruise pads that were fucking spin.
What is one thing that went horribly wrong on a vacation for you that you still think about today?
So there's a lot to unpack here, so I'm going to try to go as fast as I can. So in October 2017, my daughter had just finished her last ditch effort on chemo, and we were told that it didn't work and that she had about 6 months or less to live. Of course, her wish trip was the next day, so we were on a flight to Florida, so obviously we couldn't even process the information of her being terminal. The way wish trips work if you're going to Disney World is that the kids is sent to a wish village, and it's really cool. It's made up like it's Candyland, and there's like little rides, like different things to do around the whole place, unlimited ice cream, food, everything. It's really fun. In addition to that, you get a week's worth of access to all 3 Disney parks, and like the ultimate fast pass. Like, we were on a ride and she just got to sit there and ride it as many times as she wanted. She didn't even have to get off. However, the moment we got to Florida, I knew something was wrong because Kaylin hadn't gone to the bathroom, and then sure enough, after 24 hours she still hadn't gone to the restroom, so we took her to the ER. They told us nothing was wrong. They sent us on our way. We went to this really cool Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween parade thing at Disney World, and it was really cool. We had like special access, like a lot of people have to book in advance to get it. When we got back, we were I was tucking her in, and of course she asked what was going to happen to her since her chemo wasn't working, so I basically had to tell her that there was a high chance that she might pass away. Obviously I didn't say it like that. Anyway, in really poor timing, my phone went off right after that conversation, and it was the ER telling us we had to go to the hospital immediately. They wouldn't tell me what was wrong, so of course I was freaking out, thinking that her organs were failing. We got there and it turns out she had a blood infection, and we were told we were gonna have to be admitted. It wasn't until like 5 in the morning that we were finally admitted into this really tiny room. It was really kind of gross. I was told I wasn't allowed to leave like the room at all, not even to go get food, because since she was infectious, they thought I could spread it somehow, but there was no way that I could get it, so it was kind of weird. And the nurse was terrible. She refused to take her temperature regularly, and of course I called her out on that. She finally took it. Turns out her fever was incredibly high to the point where she could have ended up developing brain damage, so luckily I caught that. She also had to have a surgery while we were there. She was really sick, and I was honestly very afraid that I was going to lose her. She ended up pulling through, and we were able to go back home to our home hospital in Texas. Unfortunately, that means that she only really got to spend less than half a day at Disney World. Her one and only true vacation was spent in the hospital. So now every time I see Disney stuff, it makes me really sad, and I immediately flash back to how scared I was back then.
What is one thing that went horribly wrong on a vacation for you that you still think about today?
So October of 2019, my parents decide that they're going to take me to Iceland to celebrate my 21st birthday. What you need to know is that my parents have since divorced, and around this time, this was the iceberg that tipped over. This was the worst part of their marriage that I ever witnessed. But I thought that we could all hold it together for a cute little family vacay in Iceland, but that did not happen. So on the 3rd morning of our vacation, I woke up in my bedroom in the Airbnb, and I heard my parents yelling at each other in their room of the Airbnb. I walk out to see what the commotion is. My dad's trying to pressure my mom into things that she's not comfortable with. I start filming him because he starts getting aggressive, hitting things, knocking stuff over in the Airbnb. I threatened to send the video to all of his business partners. He just went crazy. He got in my face, grabbed his passport and his luggage, and left Iceland. I have not seen my dad since October of 2019.
What is one thing that went horribly wrong on a vacation for you that you still think about today?
Picture it, 1998, New Jersey Beach. My parents had 6 kids, including me, so we weren't like the richest people, right? We finally got to go on a vacation. I was super excited about it, but I'm pasty as shit, and it's the beach. So I have to wear these oversized Cartman South Park t-shirts, which is whatever, but I don't know how to swim. I'm 9 years old, right? I'm walking along the beach, just, in water up to my knee, and this wave comes out of nowhere and sucks me in. So it's spinning me around and around. I'm just bashing my head off the beach floor. Sand floor? I don't know. Bashing my head off the sand floor, and then I get this feeling of like electricity in my ear, and I was like, what the hell is that? It was a jellyfish. A jellyfish stung me in the ear while I'm bashing my head off the sand floor, and it wasn't too long before that I got bit in the forehead by the raccoon, and I'm like, shit, why is everything attacking my head? And then I got like 2nd-degree sunburn. I still don't know how to swim.
What's an acting performance that was so good you forgot it was acting?
I bought it so you don't have to, part 2.
Okay, so I've seen this little robot on my FYP a couple of times now. It's a self-emptying vacuum that also has a mopping function. It will even avoid going around the carpet when it's in the mopping mode. The first thing I did was let this thing map out my entire house. It connects to Google Home and Alexa, and it was strong enough to pick up all my toddler's droppings as well as pet hair. It works on tile, wood, and all different styles of carpet, and when it's done cleaning, it goes back to its little home and empties its own dustbin. This means all I have to do is empty the bag on top once every 30 days. So easy. Everything is customizable through their app, so it only does what you tell it to. It's my new robot bestie.
Starting charging.